We have a lot to cover today. Building online courses and communities with Thinkific. I'm hoping that by the end of today's webinar, you folks are going to have a really good appreciation for the flexibility and the different things that you can do, the different benefits that you can glean from using an LMS or a tool like Thinkific. And Thinkific is just one of a whole class of tools like Kajabi and Teachable, other learning management tools that give us a suite of capabilities that allow us to, we'll do all of the things we're going to talk about, delivering online courses, etc. So let's dive into Thinkific specifically. So what is it? They call themselves on their website an enterprise level LMS. And let's break that down. Enterprise level means that this is designed for large corporations. This can be done on a fairly grand scale. An LMS is a learning management system. That is a tool that allows us to store content. It's in part a content management system. So we store videos and tutorials and text documents and quizzes and the different information that we want to use in order to teach somebody anything or to instruct them on something. It's got the content side where all of your videos and the structure of your online courses and classes are, but it also supports the students, the membership side, allowing you to administratively support who has access to what courses, if indeed they are going to be charged for that. It manages the financial side of the transaction, and it gives the students control over their membership. So if they need to cancel a membership or if they need to see where they are in a course, they've got all of that kind of administrative features built into it. So it handles both sides of the equation. It handles the relationship with the students, and it handles the content itself and delivers the content in an effective way to the students. And you end up using a tool like Thinkific or Kajabi primarily for some sort of a course delivery. Now that can be for income, that can be something we charge for, or it can be list building, something you give away for free in order to build a reputation and a relationship. Now that's external looking outside. It can also be used for training. You can use it for internal or external training purposes, where you're instructing people on if you're supporting a product or supporting a process that you're doing. And if you choose another side of that training coin is the support coin. You can use it to support your community. If there are a series of steps that somebody has to go through and you want to make sure that it's really clearly identified and you want to audit the process, then you can use it for support as well. Now, Thinkific stores all of your content in a fairly defined structure. You have your courses, you have the different courses that you have people sign up for. Many of you have signed up for courses with us. If you're one of our Patreon supporters, you have access to the Webinar Wednesday archives. That's a course. And inside of each course, you can have individual chapters, so much like a book. And inside of each chapter, you can have all of the different lessons that are included in that, which include all of the different content that you're going to be delivering. And you can deliver that as a package, or you can drip deliver it. In other words, you can release one lesson per week for a series of weeks, etc. And you can also track the students' progress while they're going along, and you can establish milestones, and you can even test them if you choose to. Now, you can also take several different courses and put them together in a bundle, which is really what a membership site is. You can have packages of courses that are all related. Let's do enough with the mind map. Let's jump into Thinkific itself. There's two different views to Thinkific that you will see if you are administering a Thinkific site. What you're seeing in front of you is what's called the student dashboard. This is what most of you will have seen if you've signed up for the Dotto Tech U and you're taking any different courses with us. This is where the student comes and they return to this time after time, and here inside of the dashboard will be a roster of all of the different courses that they've signed up for or that they have access to. So these are the individual classes that we have that are part of our Grey Wave community. There's quite a few of them, as you can see. But each one of these, if you want to watch anyone, if you want to go through the content that's in it, let's go into one of our tutorials, how to use Facebook ads. If we start the course, when we open it up, we're brought into, this is the actual learning center.
Excited about this module. I love.
So we see what we see here is we have the video of the lesson. The lessons don't have to be video. They can also be text. But here in this particular case, these are a series of video lessons that we have that include the series of video lessons that we have. You can see we have the chapter. This one is just a one chapter course with multiple lessons inside of the course. And you can see here that they're each identified as video lessons. This is what the student sees when they log in, and they can always go back to their dashboard, and they can navigate through. And one nice thing about Thinkific is the dashboard remembers the last lesson that you're in, and you see it's changed here at the top now, and it has Facebook ads that's available to me here. So this is the kind of the membership area and what the student sees. And what I see when I log in is this. I am brought into my dashboard here, into the management dashboard inside of Thinkific, which is very different than what as a student. This gives me administrative control over everything that happens inside of Thinkific. Down the left-hand side here, I've got all of my different areas that I go to create courses, to manage the website itself, and really Thinkific is just a big website with a very special set of building tools that are attached to it. And I have access to all of those different settings here. Let's show you what the basic process is of building a simple course so you can see the main building blocks. You've seen what it looks like as a student. We create new courses in managed learning products. And inside of here, we can create courses, we can create communities, which I'll talk about in a moment, memberships, bundles, and we can also manage our video library. One of the biggest things that Thinkific will do for us is it will be a content management system where we've got all of our videos hosted. Now, Thinkific doesn't charge you extra for the video hosting, which is a huge benefit. So we don't need another service like a Vimeo, or we don't have to incorporate YouTube videos, but instead we can host our videos natively inside of Thinkific, and the playback and the control we have over those videos is quite profound. The beauty of that is if you have content that's gated, in other words, you don't want the public to see it, you don't have to run the risk of having it in some sort of another network where it could possibly be shared. It's all stored inside of Thinkific in this particular case. So let's go in and let's create a new course. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on courses, and we click right here. Well, first of all, it brings up a list of all of my courses so I can go in and I can edit any of them. But if I'm going to start with a new course, something brand new, it gives me a series of templates that will walk me through the basic architecture and the basic structure of any course. A blank course, or a mini course, flagship course. Mini course is a short little course that we might use for a low charged course, or something that we give away for free. We can have webinar replays. We can also have resources. Let's just start with a mini course. A lot of us will start with that, and we'll call this my mini course. I always do the second capital letter. I don't know why my fingers come off slowly off of the shift key. All right, so when you create the course, first world problems, right? Second capital letter. All right, what we see here down the left-hand side, this is the same structure that we see here down the left-hand side. This mimics very much, if we jump back over into our dashboard, if we go into any of our courses here, this mimics what the student sees down in the navigational bar here on the left-hand side. But here we can see all of the different opportunities we have for creating content. Well, each one of these chapters contains all of the individual lessons, of course, and we can go in and we can start to edit them if we choose. Now, one of the nice things about Thinkific is inside of these kind of pre-populated templates is they will walk you through and they will give you some good sage advice on how to get started and what to put in each of the different lessons as you go along. Now, there is the content side of each of the lessons, which is we see here. This particular lesson is a text lesson. You can see by the little icon here that it's a text lesson. More on that in a moment. But if we scroll down to the very bottom, we have some administrative control over the lesson. We can make it a free preview if we say have a course that we charge $100 for, but we give away the first 2 lessons for free. That's a marketing technique that we can use, and you can set those parameters within here. You can enable discussions, which will allow people to ask questions inside here. More on that later, because this is becoming less relevant inside of Thinkific as the communities feature builds, but I'll talk about that in a moment. But basically, you can set some basic administrative settings here. Then in the body of the lesson, in this particular case, this looks like a web page builder, a blog builder, and it really is. It's the exact same as if you were writing a blog post. You can incorporate different assets like images or videos you can drop directly inside of this lesson itself. let's add a new blank lesson. Let's say that we've written a nice introduction, we've dropped it in here. We add a new lesson, and these are the types of lessons that you can create. And it will, depending on what you choose, you'll have different features available to you when the lesson is created. A video lesson is obviously just going to be a video. And this is the one that we end up using the most, as we upload videos to Thinkific and we play back most of our content as video lessons. But our supporting material comes as text. You can also set up a download for your students if they need to download files. You can also set up quizzes or have them access to PDFs or even audio files. You can roll presentations in, and you can also deliver live sessions inside of lessons where you're synchronously delivering a live stream, say, using a tool like Zoom in order to deliver your lesson. Real flexibility here in the different lesson types. And if we choose to, say, add a new video lesson, we click on the video lesson button, and then we give the lesson a title. And then we can either upload a brand new video file, or we can select a video file from our existing videos. And we have, because we've done so many different courses here inside of Thinkific, we have hundreds, or I'd say even thousands, of videos that we have incorporated here. So if I wanted to, say, take something from the Building Your Online Business Bootcamp, there we go. We've got the funnel tutorial available to us here. We can see it's 55 minutes, and people can play that back, and I can save this as the video for this particular lesson. And so you structure your lessons this way by going through and building individual pieces of your lesson, populating the content, and then saving it. And you can leave them in draft form so that they aren't seen by anybody until they're ready to be released, until they're finished. So even if you're working on a live site, you don't necessarily have content as you're building it that your students can see. So you have control over what they have access to. Now, much of the control we have, the curriculum tab here gives us access to managing all of the content in our lessons. But then we've got some other tabs here, some other settings. One of them is a bulk importer. Let me just discard the changes here, and let's move on to the bulk importer. And that just allows you to massively upload. If you've recorded 17 videos on a topic, you can upload them all at once. The settings area is something that you will use a lot and that you should pay attention to, because the settings area, the first thing it does is it gives you, very importantly, your course URL. You'll be using this URL to direct people to the course. If you're sharing it as a public thing or as a list builder, having access to this URL is something that you are obviously going to need on a regular basis. And so you have access to that here, and you can edit it, you can modify it. Does this look like, for those of you who use WordPress or use another website builder, does this look like other website builders? Yes, it does, because really, in one aspect, a tool, an LMS like Thinkific, as far as the content delivery side, is very similar to other WordPress or other website builders. We have all the same underpinning criteria as far as HTML pages and web pages that load and permission to load those pages, etc. So all of that is set here. In the settings, you can also, these are the basic settings, you can also, this is where we also upload the image, the little image that we see. And the images, let's go back to our dashboard here. The image that we upload are these little thumbnail images that we can see inside of the student dashboard, like this larger thumbnail here, and then smaller versions of the thumbnail are seen here. You can write a course description. You can determine what the color and the wrapper of the player is, etc. Again, very similar to other WordPress type applications. You can determine how you want to report the student's completion. If they watch a lesson, so the Thinkific will monitor their progress for themselves so that they know where they are in the course and they can pick up where they were last time, but also for you as the instructor to see how people are making it through the different content that you're delivering. And then you've also got some marketing tools here, which allows you to incorporate different revenue partners. If you say have a course that's split between two different parties, you can set up a revenue split when the revenue comes automatically, having it paid to multiple people, or even incorporate an affiliate program if you have affiliates selling your course. Very sophisticated once we get into these sorts of little options. The drip settings, and there's no drip schedule set, but this is really useful especially if you're delivering a course synchronously, where you say on the day you sign up, you get sent the first lesson. On this, 2 days later, you get sent the second lesson. 2 days later, you get sent the third lesson. So you can set up that sort of a schedule for the delivery of the content. The pricing, that's something we're all interested in, is the pricing. So its default is set up to free, but then you can also set up one-time payments, or you can set up subscriptions where they're paying on an ongoing basis, as in a membership site, or even monthly payment plans. Now, all of these payment options are set up inside of the settings area, where, as we head back out, where we go into payments, and there you can set up for either the stock of the standard online payment systems like PayPal and Stripe. And Thinkific also has its own payment system, which is a standalone product inside of Thinkific, which you can sign up for instead of using a PayPal or a Stripe. So you've got lots of different options, but they're all reflected once you can set it up automatically inside of the pricing for the courses. Now, this is really nice because this is an additional piece of software that if you were doing this on your own, say in a WordPress site, you'd have to have some sort of a checkout cart. You'd have to have some sort of a cart that ties in and gives students access to the courses that they purchase. And the beauty of this is when somebody is, say, on a subscription plan, when they cancel the plan, they will then be properly canceled out of access to it inside of Thinkific, and you don't have to set up all sorts of Zapier links and all of those sorts of things in order to make it work. It's all integrated in a single system. The integration between a shopping cart tool, a membership structure, and the course content is one of the real strengths of using a tool like Thinkific. You also have other little options that will become important to you as you start building out, especially when you have lots of different courses and lots of different people registering and lots of different ways that people register, is post-purchase. After the purchase, you can add a flow where you direct people to a custom page to the course player. So for example, if somebody has purchased a course from you, we used to do this. If you purchased Foundational Friday from us, you then had to be registered for it inside of Demio. We could just send you to the Demio registration page once your purchase is complete. So you've got different options of controlling the narrative of people as they purchase the product to make sure that they are onboarded, that they're brought through the acquisition process of the content that they purchased elegantly. And then finally, you can determine whether you want to, what publishing status you want. If you want to have it in draft mode, which it is, if you want to have it in a pre-order mode or in a published mode. Once it's published, you can also have it. You don't have to have it visible when it's published. You can, if we go into the settings, you see here we have the option to make courses private and hidden. So you can publish a course, but not let anybody see it until they're actually registered for the course. So lots of options from that perspective. I'm going to jump back out into the settings and just show you a few of the other features that are built in that really help us manage our content and our community. And the first is supporting your students themselves. Within this area here, and I'm not going to go into it because that's where personal information is, but within this here, we can go in and we can see what every student is registered for, what courses they're included in. This is the membership detail for an account. This particular one is for me, but you can see here that we can, through here, see exactly what I'm enrolled in, what this particular student is enrolled in, and you can add to it. You can register them for other courses or unregister them for courses should you choose to. I can add learning products here, and then I can enroll them. I can select an expiry date if you just want to give them access for a period of time. So you can manually manage. Now, this student has access to mastering Canva certification as well. And I can, at any point, I can unenroll them from that course or enroll them in other courses. So you have a lot of control over the students as far as managing their experience and supporting them if there happen to be any issues. If you go into the details screen, we can also see when they've joined, what any user information, their email address, etc., what groups they're part of, and what surveys and quizzes they've taken is all part of the experience in managing the students inside of this supporting your students area. In the marketing and selling area, they have things like coupons where you can, if you're selling different courses, you can add different coupon codes that allow people to purchase things, be able to have discounts or free access to different courses. And you can create a new coupon just by going new coupon, and you can choose to have a percentage off or a dollar figure off on the course. You name it, and then you apply the coupon code and save it, and then they will enter that in the shopping cart in order to get access to the discount. Lots of sophistication here. This is where, in the design site area inside of Thinkific, is where things get nitty and gritty. This is where we actually design the the look and what students have access to on their landing page with the navigations. This doesn't look like Thinkific. This looks like Dottotech. We built this all inside of this area here, which is where you basically design the physical look and the attributes of every individual page and the overall theme of your website. So this is very advanced. A lot of people will hire an outside service in order to do the design work for them, but this gives you total control over the learning environment. I want to spend a few minutes now, though, talking about some of the newer features that are built in. And the one that I am most excited about within Thinkific is the communities area. So let me just take a step back and explain to you why this is so interesting. You've seen, I've already talked a couple times, and I've just talked glibly about the fact that we have courses, but we can also have memberships. A membership site, like our Graywave, is very different than a standalone course. In a membership site, you're giving people access, depending on what tier they are, to different products. You're far more engaged with them. They're hopefully using the service a lot more than somebody just going through a single course. And you have to have constant interaction with them. You have to be able to talk to them and have some sort of a community platform where you can have social conversation, as well as they can reach out to others and commune with other members of the community. So typically speaking, a lot of sites will use a tool like Facebook in order to set up that community, but that's fraught with different challenges. I mean, we all know that. I hate Facebook. And it creates a disconnect because you've got your course content over here and your community is over here inside of Facebook. So the ideal world is they're both in one place. With the new commitment to communities inside of Thinkific, they are trying to bring those two aspects together. And I've been playing with using these communities and looking at how they fit and how they work for a little while now. And we are very close to starting to use them internally ourselves. They are a bit of a game changer in the online course marketplace as you build membership sites. The Thinkific community feature does have very much a Facebook or perhaps a LinkedIn community feed feel, where you've got navigation on the left-hand side, and you've got a series of posts that end up being posts and conversations down the center. And then in the bottom, they have something called spaces. Now, this is where it gets really interesting and important. So you can have a general area where everybody has conversations and you share information back and forth. This is no different than the community you would find in Facebook, except you're getting to it from inside of Thinkific. But using spaces, you can then parse out different members of your community for different vertical interests. So for example, you can directly tie individual courses to individual spaces. So if somebody is taking a video production course with us, we can then tie them into our video space, and only conversations around the video space will appear here. And you can as you can see, I've tied this to Gord's Camtasia for Business course. And so if you're taking that course, if we go as a student and take a look at what that course looks like, you can see here. Now this is, let's just pause that. This is the next generation in the course page as far as students are concerned. We have all of our course content, our different chapters and lessons all listed out here. But look here at the top. There is direct access to the community. So what this means in the future for people using a tool like Thinkific is they can go and they can have conversations with other members of the course that they're taking or their instructors. They can share the results of their course, the work that they're doing. They have a community forum, but not having to jump out and go to Facebook and have a completely different login and a completely different sign-on. But instead, you're siloed inside of the Thinkific umbrella, and you can go and you can jump directly in and you can have conversations, do posts, all of those sorts of things inside of this community. This is something that I'm really excited about. I think this is a game changer in the online, as far as we're concerned, for Thinkific, and it'll greatly streamline and hopefully improve the engagement we all experience inside of a tool like Thinkific. Let me jump back into the mind map, because I spent a lot of time inside of Thinkific kind of wandering around, and I want to make sure that I'm on point. So we talked about students. We didn't talk about communication. I'm just checking my notes here. We talked about the payments, the community, mobile. Thinkific is soon to release some sort of form of a mobile app. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but that, again, might change things substantially about how we look at using a tool like Thinkific. If I jump back in and show you the communication. Inside of Thinkific, you also have the ability to determine what emails are sent to students. It's not a full-featured CRM like an Active Campaign or a Keep, formerly Infusionsoft. But instead, when somebody registers for a course, you can determine exactly what's in the email that's sent to them and what instructions you have. This is a part of a process that we call onboarding, making sure that when somebody purchases something or signs up for something, that they have all of the resources they need in order to access that as effortlessly as possible. One of the biggest challenges and frustrations content creators have in delivering content to their students is giving people access to what they have the rights to. And it's more difficult than it seems from the outside. If you purchase something and think you should just get access to it, looks like it should be simple, but actually all of the different levers and switches that you have to put in place in the management tool can make it a little bit more of a challenge than it probably should be. But they give us some nice tools to assist in that. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is the integration. And the integration is where the tool like the Thinkific sits as far as our entire online process. So Thinkific has to integrate with the main tools that we use. So if we jump back into our Thinkific console here, and we go back into the main navigation, down here in apps, we have the API or the direct level integration. So we see here all of the different applications in the API level integrations that are set up. Active Campaigns, Zapier, Zoom, all that things that you would expect. If you need to add more integrations, if you use tools that are different than the tools that we use, they have an app store which has all of the different apps. If you're a Shopify or if you're MailChimp, you can go and you can sign up for all of these different apps. Some of them are paid, some of them are free. You can even have tools that will help you with pop-up forms and quizzes, etc. They're all available here as far as the integrations goes. Now, I just put this together to hopefully give you an idea of where Thinkific sits and how important it is within our entire business infrastructure. So within Thinkific, we host all of our list building, our free courses that introduce people to us. We host all of our one-off courses. Things like our Foundational Fridays are all hosted as standalone products that we sell inside of Thinkific, and we use the Thinkific shopping cart for people to check out and to manage that whole process. And we sell all of our bundled courses, which is basically our membership site. We sell the Gray Wave through Thinkific. So that all has to tie in to an online payment system. In our case, we use Stripe and PayPal, but Thinkific has their own. If you're just starting from scratch, you can use the Thinkific payment system. So when somebody purchases one of these different courses, one of the paid courses, they're then taken through the online payment system, and then it's all reported back into our CRM. So anytime that somebody does an action inside of Thinkific, if it's a purchase, they're directed towards the payment system, and at the same time, they're directed towards the CRM where all of the information is recorded, and they're put on the appropriate lists and tags are attached. We also host all of our Patreon crowdfunding. One of the other memberships that we host inside of Thinkific is all of the perks that our patron members get access to. So when somebody signs up with Patreon, all of the information is sent into Thinkific. So it's a little bit slightly different process. Thinkific captures the information. Thinkific generates all of the account information for anybody purchasing any of these courses, but Patreon generates all of the information for this, and it sends that information through to Active Campaign and sends it to Thinkific. And then, of course, all of our different webinars and et cetera are all hosted. Almost all of these include some sort of a webinar. So once somebody purchases and then they're properly accredited inside of the CRM, we have to make sure that they're signed up and the proper webinar is delivered to them. But right at the heart of all of these systems, all this information flows into and out of Thinkific. So the integrations, how well Thinkific works and plays well with others, is crucial to the success we have with the application. If you take a step back and look at all of the things that we can do through a tool like Thinkific, even a small little company like ours, you have to be impressed. You have to be just blown away by the advancements in technology. Now, these things come one little feature at a time as they grow and they grow. But when you take into account all of the things that we can do and just how much business can be supported through a tool like Thinkific, you have to be impressed. We have 47,000 enrollments. We have 47,000 different people going through, taking different modules and different courses inside of our community. And we're just a small team of basically 3 people who produce the content, but we support a large community as a result of the tool that gives us access. Like, this is really pretty amazing when you stop and think about it. I always just pinch myself. And Thinkific is just one of a whole class of tools that will give you access to these kind of benefits and features. I hope that I've given you a good idea, a good overview. Let's get to the Q&A.